Hello and welcome to Hughes at 10. I've just realised something. Before I start, it's not quite right on the screen. It says that it's 9 days till Ginger Island. It should say 8, so there you go. Just fix that for you. Okay, hello and welcome to Hughes at 10. Sorry there's no Hughes the World today. I haven't done my research. I haven't done my homework because I've been working really hard on getting everything set up for Ginger Island. Just come off a conference call. A phone call with Marcus. Well, no, it was a Zoom call, so I can call it a conference call with Marcus, who's coming to Ginger Island with me. And we talked a lot about microphones and solar panels. Exciting shit. Okay, so it is Thursday, the 2nd of September, 2021. So far today, we've seen the Marcus Sedwill, the ex-Whitehall chief, saying the West has no coherent plan for the refugee disaster. Apparently the food and drink industry of the United Kingdom is suffering a disastrous decline of over £2 billion in just the first 6 months of the year for exports to the EU because of Brexit. Direct result of fucking Brexit. What else have we got? We got ABBA have reunited for Voyage, their first new album in 40 years. Yeah. Meanwhile, over in America, Storm Ida, is it Ida? I think so. The hurricane that hit New Orleans has managed to kill more people on the East Coast than it did on the southern coast of America. Because whereas everyone got the hell out, I guess, of Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi, or sought shelter, or hid under a bridge, I don't know what you're supposed to do, but whatever, in New York, people were asleep in the basement when floodwaters came in and drowned them. And more than 25 people have been killed in the northeast of the United States of America amid heavy rains and flooding. The most amount of rain ever recorded in Central Park, ever. They've been recording how much rain has been landing in Central Park since the 1800s. They've never had this much rain in such a short space of time. Climate change, ladies and gentlemen, and we are hitting tipping point after tipping point after tipping point. And there's no way back. We are already 1.2 degrees warmer as a world globally than we were at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. We need to stop. We need to stop and consider what we're doing to the planet. We need to really start revolutionizing how we treat this bloody place. It's going to be difficult because we have cars. I don't personally own a car, but my partner does, and it's not electric. And that makes me feel guilty, but we're not millionaires, and we can't afford bloody electric cars because they're too bloody expensive. I'm flying to Ginger Island next week to begin setting up an eco retreat eventually. But I'm flying on a jet plane, which is really bad for the environment. But how else? I don't have an eco retreat in the UK that I can get to by walking there, and sailing across the Atlantic is something that, again, it's out of my price range at the moment. If I was made of money, I could do all this shit, but I can't. If I had the money to do it, you know, when you see celebrities turning up to a anti-carbon protest, let's call it what it is, an anti-carbon protest. A pro-life. No, that's a bad way of putting it. The future. People who are for humanity having a future. One of those marches, right? If I had the money, wouldn't it be great to come across on a sailboat? Yeah, the money and the time. Time and money. Bloody hell. Two things that are in short supply in the world. For most of us, not for the 1%. Not for the 1%. Who are ridiculously, ridiculously wealthy. Okay, so John Barleycorn is there. Say hello to everyone. Hello, John Barleycorn. We've got Alex asking Hughes at 10 or Hughes the World. It's just Hughes at 10. I'm sorry. I will catch up at some point and do the episode about Central African Republic. But it's probably now going to have to be put on the back burner till I get back from Ginger Island. Because realistically, next Thursday evening, I'm heading over to Liverpool. I'll be staying at my parents for one night because I'm flying out of Manchester Airport. And I need to be there at 4 a.m. So, I don't trust the M62 at all. It's probably going to be closed at that time of night. So, yes, I'm going to Liverpool. So I won't be able to do a show next week either. So sorry about that for anyone who's waiting for me to do the Central African Republic. It will happen, I assure you, but probably November now. Maybe I'll do a load of them when I'm quarantining on Marcus's farm on the way back to the UK. I got my insurance today, £174 insurance for 6 weeks to Panama and Costa Rica. Bloody, it's usually like £35. 175. This because of COVID. Okay, back to your messages. Apologies, Alex. Apologies. Context says, hello, everyone. Conservator says, good evening, all. Graham says, evening, all. Redundant Squash says, hey, everyone. Chubb says, you can set your clock by Graham. It'll be wrong, but you can. Thank you. I was on, I think it was 10:10. I was on. It's all right. Me, I would be quite lenient on Rob. He must be having an awful time. Inner me, rip that twat a new arse, that arrogant fucking piece of shit. I think that's what you were saying there. Is that right? Rob, who yesterday refused, what was it, like 6 times in a row to just give the dates of when he was on his fucking holiday, like it was some kind of fucking state secret. What a twat. And yet, there are people defending him on Twitter and social media and Facebook and stuff because it's all they've got left. They haven't got any dignity. They haven't got any self-respect. All they have is toadying to the elites in power. That's all they've got left. Yeah, but there's a possible 50 million over 50 years on the other side of the Atlantic in Mexico. What's the price of a chiller container? What? I don't understand. Jobai, explain. Adrian says, delusional, self-deceiving leavers will try and pretend that £2 billion export plunge is good for British people, but terrible for Europeans. Yeah, because there are no other places to buy shit from. Climate is really hammering its point home lately, doesn't it? Climate change deniers will be having a hard time getting new believers. Climate change deniers, man. What the fuck is wrong with them? They usually go hand in hand with the anti-vaxxers, don't they? If you look at Piers Corbyn, he is both a denier of climate change, the efficiency of vaccines, and reality, I think. I think he's in denial of reality. That's what happens when you send your kids to a posh prep school. Private prep school. Money is not in short supply. Resources, time, and goodwill are. Well, that's a good point. Sorry, context. I said that. I said that in the wrong way, didn't I? Yeah. I should have put that better. Rewind the tape. Let's try that again. Yes. There is enough money on the planet, but it needs to be distributed a little more sanely. Because at the moment, it's in fucking sane. At least Use the World Season 1 ended up with the big finale episode of Cape Verde. Woo! Yeah, at least we did get to Cape Verde, and that was a bumper episode. So that's good. Money is anti-carbon. That'll be the black coal, the black oil, but not the white diamond, says Chobai. Oh, yeah, diamonds are worthless. You can make them. You can make them in a lab. Who cares? The only reason that diamonds are worth anything is because De Beers went around in the 1930s buying up all the world's diamond mines and decided to scribble up 99% of them away in vaults in Switzerland and Amsterdam and basically artificially put the price up by creating an artificial shortage of something. Yeah. The M62 is a pig. It is an absolute pig. It is the road to Hull. The road to Hull. But yeah, it's an absolute bloody, it's a clusterfuck. Oh yeah, and by the way, they're back healing the eastern leg of the HS2. So one of its only redeeming features, the fact that it would allow people to get to Sheffield and Leeds quickly as well. No, you're still going to take the East Coast Main Line. But in its defense, at least it's not a fucking monorail, eh? Tim Ballard, maybe more Brexit than COVID, the insurance price, that is, maybe. Please do the show from Ginger Island, Graham. That's some tacky. Do you want me to do the Central African Republic show from Ginger Island? I could do that. Do you know what I've been doing this last couple of weeks? I've got all these hard drives, right? I got those. There's just a few of them. Got these hard drives. More hard drives. I've got all these hard drives. More hard drives. More hard drives. Let's just stack them up. Let's see how many I've got. This isn't all of them. I've got more than this. And these are all these hard drives are videos and my footage from my travels over the years. So what I've taken to start to doing is I'm putting them all on YouTube, not for you to watch, but just so they're backed up, obviously, and they're already backed up, the important stuff at least 2 different locations. But so they're backed up, and also so I can access them from anywhere in the world, and I don't have to take a hard drive with me to access my footage of, say, the Odyssey expedition. So I'll be able to just show you stuff from it using YouTube. Clever, right? Anyway, so yes, what's your views on carbon offsetting travel? Alex, it's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question because I never really considered it as on my journey. Actually, I ticked the carbon offset, so I think I paid an extra £12 or something for the carbon offset. I don't know though how effective it is. I don't know how much of it is bullshit. I don't know if they are actually going to plant some trees. I don't know what they're actually doing to offset the carbon that the plane journey is going to pump into the atmosphere. In my defense, I did go to every country in the world without flying. So there's that. But I didn't have to because I just stayed at home. But then you think about people who commute every day. I don't commute anywhere. They pump a lot of horrible gas into the atmosphere, I guess, through their cars. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what to do anymore. Because you look at the situation when it comes to climate change, and you look at the fact that, okay, so this glacier's gone. That means that this whole valley is going to just fall into the sea, which means that the knock-on effect, the tipping points are that the Gulf Stream effectively is going to peter out, and so we're going to get colder winters here in the UK, and hotter summers as well, and so the amount of species that are going extinct has been exceeding the normal level for decades now. Absolutely decades. We are wiping out species at such a disgraceful rate of knots. You're seeing the desertification of the Sahel in Africa. You're seeing what in the Amazon rainforest. You've got vast areas that are going to turn into savanna, and they're never going to turn back into a rainforest now because humans have fucked it up too much. You know, a rainforest takes thousands of years to put together. It only takes a few bloody decades to chop down. So yeah, I don't know, carbon offset. You see, because I'm well, let's have a discussion about this, because I've been reading a lot of stuff about how the governments and how private corporations and things are using this carbon offsetting thing to bullshit their way out of their obligations. A really good example of this is Norway, in that Norway in itself is incredibly green as a country. It's got a lot of renewable energy. It's got a lot of public transport. It's a fairly green country as far as green countries go. However, it's one of the world's biggest, well, one of Europe's biggest exporters of oil. So, you know, that oil might be burnt on the other side of the world, but it's global climate change. It's the amount of CO2 that's in the atmosphere all around the world. It's not just centered over one point, like the hole in the ozone layer. All Shorts is here. Wally eats too many treats. Yeah, absolutely. Yurosh says the climate problem needs to be solved globally by people with power and money to do so. Unfortunately, the same people who got the above by greedy, selfish jerks and have no interest in solving it. That is the problem. E10 fuel, we've had it for years in France, yeah. We've finally got E10 fuel, which is 10% ethanol, I think, which is fine. Just won't work on cars that have older than like 20 years or something, but then you can just add some additive to it, be fine. John Barleycorn, I've never worked in a town I've been living in. Commuting by public transport has either not been possible, too time consuming, or expensive. The car's been the only option. Yeah. But that's a failure of the state for not providing transport options that are green. Hello everyone, says David. Hola. Doggy Daddy is here, All Shorts. What? The best 3-word slogan is, I don't know. What, isn't there an episode of Star Trek where Kirk says, the original series, where Kirk says the three most beautiful words in the universe, and someone says, I love you, and he goes, no, please help me. Um, Hi, so what's Ginger Island's topology like? In other words, how long will it take before it's below sea level? Seb, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, but at some point it will go under. It will. There are things that we can do to mitigate against that. The big thing that we can do, it's only a small island. We can bring soil in from elsewhere and build the island up slowly, year by year. The sea level isn't going to rise by more than an inch a year, I don't think. So it is conceivable that we could keep building up. Obviously, we'd have to build some kind of barrier to stop it, washing into the water. But it's not that tidal. It's a bit like being on a lake, to be honest with you. The tidal range is less than a foot. So it's not like we've got this big load of water coming in every day and dragging all the soil out into the sea. We could also, if the environmental people were happy with us doing this, because obviously we'd have to ask permission, we could dredge the boat dock area, which is muddy or silty. We can take the silt out and we can put that on the land. There's a few different things that we can do, but the main one is just building it up. But like I say, it's only 2.2 acres. It's about the size of 2 football fields. It would be a bit of a Herculean effort to build it up, but it can be done. And everything that we build on Ginger Island is always on stilts. So the house at the moment is 8 foot up in the air, so that if we do have a load of rain and we get flash flooding or whatever, it won't affect the actual island. It won't affect the actual the house itself on the foundations. And it happens. It happens. You get these major thunderstorms. As I keep saying about the average rainfall in Bocas is 3,500 millimeters, 3.5 meters of rain every year, which is insane. But you get this massive rainstorm. The water does drain away quite quickly, but it happens. And most of the flora has evolved to be able to deal with it. It can deal with salt water. It can deal with fresh water. It can deal with being flooded. So long as it's not stuck in the water for too long, it'll generally keep going. So there you go. Now you know. Central African Republic has a fascinating dictator called Jean Babel Bokassa. He models himself on Napoleon. Was that back when it was the Central African Empire? Message sent from EU and Europe. All the Brexiteers are still very funny, including Nigel Farage, Boris Johnson, Priti Patel, and all the Muppets band. Sorry for all the Remoners. Okay. Roger says, I read that one. Alex, I read that as well. Who effing cares? Says the Tories. Indeed. Charlotte is there. Hi all. Sorry, I late at work. But thank you for making it. Tim says patients overdosing on ivermectin backing up rural Oklahoma hospitals, ambulances. So this is like a dewormer tablet for cattle and horses and sheep. Yeah, this is a dewormer tablet that the dickheads are taking to stop COVID because they don't want to take the vaccine because that means, that their pride will be fucking dented. These absolute fucking knob jockeys, they've got no qualifications. They don't know shit about anything. And all they've got is their pride, I guess. They're never wrong. They never make a mistake. They never fuck up and have to say, I fucked up there. Very sorry. Can I have the vaccine now? They would rather fucking die. They would literally rather take horse tranquilizer or dewormer or fish tank cleaner than actually admit that they might be wrong about this whole, COVID thing and it might be real and they don't want to die. Thank you very much. No. They'd rather die. They would rather fucking die and take as many other people out as they can. But you see that Trump's legacy lives on in America. The vaccine hesitancy is just one factor of that. The main thing is that he has stacked the Supreme Court with his cronies. He has stacked the Supreme Court with 3 appointees, 3 of them that he put in. One of which he shouldn't have put in on the grounds that in the last guy who dropped out of the Supreme Court wasn't replaced by Obama because it was blocked by the Republicans, who said, no, we're not going to allow this to go ahead because the next president should decide. Exactly the same thing happened when Bader Ginsburg died. And Trump picked someone new, put some crazy right-wing woman in charge. In the court. And the Democrats need to hit back on this. Stack the court. Put another 3 in. There's nothing in the Constitution about how many people can be on the Supreme Court. Make it 12. Just do it. And then make Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico fucking states. Do it tomorrow and you'll keep control of the Senate in 2022. You do what the fuck you like then. It's just, you're going to keep control of the Senate. You're going to keep control of the House of Representatives. So go nuts. Go crazy for the infrastructure plan. Go nuts for the Green New Deal. There's a really good point that was made by Andrew Neil. Andrew Neil, of all people. He was interviewing this American twerp called Ben Shapiro, who's like this annoying little shit who can't show his nose. And he's really, really bad at debating. Like, he's absolutely fucking terrible at it. But he's pretty good for American TV standards, which is pretty low. Anyway, Andrew Neil said to him about, the right wing, which Andrew Neil is. He said, how come all the things that are trying to go ahead in America, this a couple of years ago, are trying to be put forward in America by the Republicans are progressive, democratic ideals, like, moving to more energy efficient ways of living, the obviously healthcare for all. They couldn't replace Obamacare. They just gave up. Even when they were in charge of the presidency, the Senate and the House of Representatives, they couldn't get rid of it. And he said, well, what's the point in the right wing anymore? They just seem to be doing what the left wing want, but taking longer to do it. And that made Ben Shapiro walk off. He actually walked away. He walked off the interview. It's quite interesting. Just share it with you at some point. Anyway, right. So back into the thing. Graham, very fashion jacket tonight. This is a fashionable look. There's state of my cuffs. This is my old jacket. It's just cold. It's just fucking cold. Like someone flicked a switch. Right, that's it. Enough of summer. You're going to be freezing cold now for the rest of eternity. Well, next week, I'll be flying on... Oh, no, I won't be flying because it's Thursday. Next week, I'll be sort of heading to Manchester to fly out of here to somewhere very, very hot. Graham, how long do you think Scotland will be free and independent? How long do you think Scotland will be free and independent in the process? Any way to make it faster? Kisses, thank you. The problem is that the polls are not decisive at the moment. It's still kind of 50-50. Some of the polls are coming in to show that actually, if they were given the choice tomorrow, a lot of Scottish people would vote to remain part of the United Kingdom. What the SNP are waiting for is for Brexit to really fucking kick in. For Brexit to really start fucking people over. Which, we're seeing the green shoots of at the moment. But also, they're waiting until they can satisfactorily say we're going to win this. We're going to definitely win this. They can't blow the load too early. They just can't. They can't get off at Edge Hill. Sorry, they can't. They've got to go all the way to Cockfosters on this one because they're only going to get like one more chance in the next X many years. But this brings me back to one of the problems I do have with referendums, which is that you just keep having them until you get the result you want. And we got accused of this on the Remain side by saying we want to have a vote on the final deal. And, you just want referendums so you get the result you want. Well, we did have a referendum on our membership of the then EEC in 1975. We joined it in 1973. We had a referendum in 1975, and a super majority, 66%, said they wanted to remain in the EEC. And yet, the people who wanted us out kept on going. They kept on agitating. They kept on saying, we want to be out of the bloody EU. And they eventually got another referendum. And in Australia, they had a referendum on whether to keep the Queen. And they're going to keep pushing until they get rid of the Queen. And then once they get rid of the Queen, they're not going to have a referendum to bring her back. Do you see? So now we're out of the EU. Can we have a referendum to go back into the EU? No, you can't have that. That wouldn't be democratic. Which is a problem, especially when you have referendums that are almost 50-50. I don't see that as a mandate. I do not see that as a mandate, because you're doing something that nearly 50% of the population do not want you to do. If you're doing something that a third of the population don't want you to do, but 2/3 do, that massively outweighs the 1/3. Whereas 50-50, fuck off. Like that can be affected by the bloody weather or something. You're doing something that half the country does not want to do. You see it now, don't you? Where they're actually blaming us now. They're saying this is the line from the Foreign Office or something. They were saying basically the British people voted for this. They were talking about, couldn't have been the Foreign Office, whoever it was, DEFRA, let's say. They were commenting on the food shortages, and they said the British people voted for this. I said this would happen years ago. I said they'll just blame us. They would just blame us and say it's your fault. You voted for it. You deal with it. And that's the problem with referendums. Unless you, I can't stop Scotland now, because they have been screwed over by the English referendum on our membership of the EU, in which little England, voted overwhelmingly to leave the EU. And meanwhile, Scotland voted overwhelmingly to stay in the EU. Asperger says, Barbados will become a republic on the 30th of November, and no referendum was required for this. It was decided by the Barbadian Parliament. Hopefully it will start a domino effect for the other Caribbean realms. Indeed, maybe, we'll see. It just means that the Queen isn't no longer going to be head of state of Barbados, which is fair enough. Oh dear, are we talking democracy? Hi, Graham, by the way. Hi, Jorg. Yeah, we're just talking about referendums and how they're inherently a little bit anti-democratic, weirdly enough. Because you're taking people who don't know anything about a given subject and asking them a very difficult question about it, generally speaking. But when you look at sort of the independence referendum for, let's say, Norway, which was 99%, I think it was 99%, to become an independent country from Denmark, it's pretty overwhelming, that. And also there was the referendum that was held in Comoros, in the Comorosian island of Mayotte, back in the 70s, I think, whether to become part of independent Comoros or stay as part of France, and they voted 99% to stay part of France. And Comoros kept on moaning about this to the UN, so they had another vote in the 90s, I think it was 99.4% on the second time of asking. It was pretty high. That's unanimous. That's pretty much, everyone wants this. You can't argue with that. And if that had been the result for the European, the EU referendum, I wouldn't have argued with it. I would have just gone, okay. We've obviously taken some kind of crazy pill. But that's what the overwhelming majority want. But to use the fact that a lot of people voted in the referendum, which is a bit mad because we hardly ever have referendums. How many referendums have we had, boys and girls? We've had the one about the EEC in the 1970s. We had national referendums. This isn't for Wales or Scotland or Northern Ireland. National referendums. We had one in the 70s. We had one in 2011 about AV, about the bringing in the alternative vote system, where you just put 1, 2, 3 instead of putting an X on one person. It was too complex for the British electorate. And then the third one would have been the EU referendum of 2016, I think. Have I missed one? We don't really have them. So to say, loads of people turned out for this one. It's like, well, there's not much to compare it against, really, mate. Anyway, referendums are so easily corrupted. Yeah, they are, Ernie, and they become a popularity contest. Who do you hate more, David Cameron or Boris Johnson? That was the question, wasn't it? And people go, "Oh, Boris Johnson, I love him. He's just like me. He's scruffy." "Oh, Nigel Farage, I love him. He's just like me. He drinks pints and smokes a fag." And you're like, really? That's what makes him like you? Not okay. They wouldn't piss on you if you're on fire. Wood alcohol, old technology. Not saying it shouldn't be looked at. Ernie Burns, the reason democracy developed into a representative model is because it so easily turns into mob populist rule. Yeah. Representative democracy is the best way to do it, because then you should have informed people making the decisions on behalf of people who aren't informed or can't be asked being informed. Something I've said since before the EU referendum. There is a picture of me on Instagram from May 2016, April 2016, and I'm holding my polling card because I had flown back from Ginger Island to do a filming job over in Cyprus for an airline, funnily enough. Hey, environmentalism. Yeah, I've got a picture of me holding my EU referendum poll card, obviously covering up the address on it. I'd say referendums are fucking stupid. I don't know I don't know enough to vote on this. I am not well informed enough, and I am not only did I get an A in my A-level politics, I also graduated with a 2-1 from a Russell Group university, studying politics and history. I'm also the only human being to have been to every country in the world without flying. There's a few things there that should separate me out as someone who probably should know a bit more about the EU than the average bloke in the street. But when it came down to it, I didn't. I found the EU really boring. I didn't really look at it. It was just something that was there. It's like, I don't really look into the logistics of how they get food to supermarkets too much in my day job. Do you know what I mean? It's just something that's there. The supermarkets are there. I understand vaguely the concept of getting this stuff from the farm or from the factory and putting it onto a truck and put it on a boat and bringing it over to the docks and then whatever. But I mean, not enough to have a vote on it. If somebody said today, Graham, you've got to vote tonight on how Sainsbury's should run their logistics for the next 100 years, I'd be like, fuck off. I've got no idea about that. Why are you asking me? Go and ask an expert. I just didn't know enough about the EU. I just didn't. Honestly didn't. I thought we should vote Remain because at the time I was like, why the fuck would we want to leave this? This is a cool thing that we're in. And it allows me to travel around Europe with no problems. I can work around Europe. I can get filming gigs around Europe without having to ask permission, without having to get a fucking work permit. Now I'm fucked. Well, one of my mates who's done a few of the Three Blokes in the Pub with us and podcast, Paul Somerville, he, the Geordie lad, he was trying to go for Spanish residency. He's been kicked back from it. It's really hard to get now. Used to be, you could just turn up and live there. You didn't have to ask anyone's permission. You could just literally turn up and start living. Now you got to fill out a load of forms and prove you got £5,000 in your bank account, pay for a load of interviews and all this kind of shit. Pineapple Boy, thank you very much for the super chat. It's first super chat of the evening. I've been chundering on a bit, haven't I? £4.49. Thank you very much, Pineapple Boy. Great to have representatives who know more than the electorate. Oh, wait, never mind. Well, yeah, exactly. But as I was talking about the other day, there are bars in this country in particular, and I'm sure they exist in other countries, but maybe not to the same extent. There are bars to stopping people who are professionals in any given profession from going into politics. Because to go into politics, you have to volunteer a shitload of your time. And if you're in your 30s, you've got young kids, you've got family, you're working full time as well. You've got to pay for childcare, you've got to pay for nursery, you've got to pay for school uniforms, all that kind of shit. You don't have time. You do not have time to be a councillor on top of that. And they know this. The political parties know this. They want to keep it. They want to keep it so that the people in charge of those parties are the rich, are the elite. All of them. All of them. Not separating out the Tories here from the Greens or the Lib Dems from Labour or the Brexit Party. All of them. Apart from Plaid Cymru and SNP. Arguably. Graham knows more about the EU than an average bear. Well, maybe an average bear, but generally speaking, I know shitloads now. I know so much now, but that's been obviously giving talks about the EU and talking to people who work in the EU and talking to MEPs and meeting people who have had their lives turned around by being part of the EU, being part of Erasmus and whatever. I mean, that's been the education there, but not many of my academic qualifications and the travel side of things. I mean, I learned about the history of countries while I was traveling. I always like to read the history bit in My Lonely Planet and squat up when I was going to these places just to get a bit of the background story to them. But yeah, I mean, yeah, The EU, it just didn't come up on my radar. I always remember being at the Oxford Union debates, and I was there representing Manchester with Rob Rinder, who's now Judge Rinder. And I always remember him saying to me before we went, well, not to me, the whole team, don't talk about Europe, don't talk about the EU, don't bring it up. And I'm like, why? He goes, because it's fucking boring. And he's right. It is really boring, but it's just something that just works, you know, something that's working away in the background, making our lives better. And now, oh my God, the amount of shit that is going down, not just like the lack of, the amount of trade we've lost, the amount of respect we've lost, the amount of power we've lost, the amount of money we've lost, the amount of assets we've lost, the amount of share dividend trading we've lost, all that kind of shit, you know? But like, it's not just that. It's just this amazingly stupid thing for us to do, to like, on a world stage that shows up just how ignorant and narrow-minded and bigoted the man in the street, the average person in the UK is. Because I still don't believe that anyone voted for Brexit who wasn't a bit racist. Because they voted, listen, they voted for something that they knew would disrupt the lives of EU citizens living here. They knew that would fucking happen. The mothers, the fathers, the bankers, the bankers, why do they pick on them? The teachers, the firefighters, the medics, the people who drive taxis, the people who drive the lorries, working people who work hard. Their crime, they popped out their mum at the wrong coordinate of latitude and longitude. So we don't want them here. Every single fucking Brexit voter voted to make people's lives worse. Not theirs, I don't think, and not mine, probably. They didn't think that far ahead. But they knew at some level that their actions would negatively impact every single EU citizen living here. And they were happy to put an X on that piece of paper to do that. Vindictive little cunts. And so when people go, oh, but you can't say all people who voted for the, Leave are racist. Maybe they don't all hate black people, but they certainly are at least a little xenophobic. A little. Most of them quite xenophobic. Disgracefully so. Something that people should be ashamed about. But what the Brexit vote did was make them feel proud. It made people feel proud of their racism, proud of their nativism. I've paraphrased a bit from Stuart Lee there. I know he does that stand up and he's saying, not everyone who voted for Brexit was a cunt. Not everyone who voted for Brexit was a racist. Some of them were cunts, which I love. I think that's most Brexiteers, I'm afraid. They have a rational fear, but it's a strong motivator. Bayerberg, hi, EU citizens here. I'm reduced to a number again. To get anything vital to normal life, first I have to produce a number that can be used to disclose a ton of private data to anyone asking. Yeah, Martin, I know. And so my mum, who, as I told you many times on the show, she is 72 years old, still working full-time and looking after my dad, who's dying of dementia. And she is now working. She works in a community college. She's working till 7:30. She's working from like 8 o'clock in the morning till 7:30 every night for the last few weeks because enrollment has been made insanely difficult because settled status. Before, EU citizens could just go to the college. Now they have to prove they have settled status. And it's a text message. It's a fucking text message. I don't even think it's a text message. I think it's like a screen that you're supposed to screen cap on your fucking phone. It's a photo. Or quick go for your photos and find your settled status. Verification even. I just like... These Brexiteers have made everyone's life more difficult. Everyone's life has been impacted in this fucking island. The malicious little bastards... And so few of them have changed their mind on it, Have I got a single fucking apology from a single Brexiteer? No. Not in 5 years of doing this. Not in 5 years of traveling around the country, traveling around, giving talks, going to rallies, going to street protests, doing all this stuff. I have not yet had a single Brexiteer say to me, sorry, I'm sorry. Not that I need an apology myself, but I mean that, I'm not saying they have to apologize to me. I'm saying that they should feel sorry. They should feel regret for their actions. And I'm yet to meet someone. Apparently there are Remainers now, and I'm sure there are. I just haven't met them. They seem very few and far between. Most people who voted for Brexit still want Brexit. GB News ran a poll to the gammon who watched GB News, and it was like 66% thought that Brexit was going well. It tells you everything you need to know. Or Shorts, what's your pin? Can we not disclose private information on our chat here? I was fearing Brexit for a long time before the referendum party. I knew if ever went to the people we would lose, they were only by 2%. Yep, Martin Bennett. Of course, the Brexit campaign was racist. They deliberately turned all questions to immigration. They showed images of darker-skinned immigrants. Yep. Pineapple Boy says, if anti-vaxxers rather die than admit they were wrong, then Brexiteers rather live in poverty than admit the same. Brexiteers would rather die as well. They'd rather see their grandchildren suffer. They would rather see their grandchildren out of work and so depressed that they fucking kill themselves. They would rather see that than admit they were fucking wrong. That is so depressing. I mean, fucking hell, how fucked up do you have to be? How mean? How evil? Like, what happened to these people? This is 52% of the population. I don't believe they were all abused as children. It's too many. There are people there who have got a nice life, a nice middle-class life with a big fuck-off car and a double garage and a detached house. C says, some people will not say shit even with a mouthful. Okay. I get more views than Labour on my YouTube channel. Yes, your sorts you do. Which is impressive and depressing at the same time. Not depressing that I'm not saying Marcus puts out depressing content. I'm just mean that it's depressing that Labour are so inept when it comes to social media. They can't even take a platform that has been around for a decade and a half and turn it into something that allows them to have a platform that they can actually talk to their potential voters about. But then Labour, I suppose, would need some policies. How about some policies, Labour? How about, I don't know, talking about UBI? How about talking about re-entering the EU? How about coming up with some policies that people actually want, that will actually get people to flock to your party? Single market, customs union. Do it. Single market, customs union. Vote for us, we'll go back in. Don't wait till things get really bad, because then it'll look like you're being reactive. And we're sick of Labour being reactive. Be proactive, get ahead of the horse, and just say, look, this isn't working. Things are only just going to get worse. If you vote for us, we are going to join the single market and the customs union. Simple as that. Adrian, retired Brexit fanatics should start picking fruit and veg minimum. I don't advocate unsuitable people to perform such physical jobs ever, but neither do I fanatically advocate Brexit. Yeah, Jeremy Goff says they are emotionally damaged. Yeah, but how many? 17.4 million people are emotionally damaged in this country? And I'll make the point that I made the other day when I saw my anti-vaxxers. You can say that they've got mental health problems, and I'm sure a lot of them do, but that doesn't absolve them of their crimes. Most suicide bombers, I guess, would have mental health problems, because why would they strap a bomb to themselves? Most people who join cults, I guess, have mental health problems, because why would they join a cult? I don't know. Weird thing about cults, actually. They tend to attract people of above average intelligence. That's something weird for you, isn't it? And conspiracy theories as well, apparently. Conspiracy theories tend to attract people of above average intelligence. Apparently because they're better at creating justifications for whatever the fuck they believe in, or whatever drivel they're talking about. But yeah, it is a bit disturbing. But I don't believe 17.4 million people are all bloody suffering from some kind of collective trauma from being in the EU. You know, God, remember when we went on holiday and didn't have to queue up for 3 hours? That was shit. If I got past an African border in less than 3 hours on any given trip from one country to another, and I went to 54 countries in Africa, some of them more than once, that was a success as far as I was concerned. In the EU, I'd pass borders and I wouldn't even notice I had passed the border. Because I would be on the train, I'd look out the window and go, okay, it's fields. I think we just left France. But yeah, we're now in Belgium. I don't know. It looks the same to me. Adrian Wilson. UK was part of the EU single market for decades. Its economy still just about reflects that. Just because so many Europeans work in the UK doesn't mean they must be low paid. Yeah, indeed. And that's something that pissed me off, that the bloody left-wing messiah, that Jeremy Corbyn creep, said. He said, we've got to stop all these people coming to our country and undercutting British workers. I'm like, oh, fuck off. You xenophobic dog whistle shite. No, we need to make sure employers don't break the fucking law. Because you're not allowed to undercut by paying workers less than minimum wage, because we've got a minimum wage. That's why I've got a fucking minimum wage. Sept says when the remaining tariffs will kick in, even more border checks will have to be done. Imagine Christmas without a proper meal. The Trieste. The sadness. The Trieste. Joni says a sustained mental trauma caused by rationalising support for Tories during a decade of austerity then. Maybe. John Barleycorn says 45 minutes. I think that's a reference to me mentioning the Messiah. So you're saying that we would be in the EU if the world wasn't flat. What? Final Boy, minutes 40, first mention of the second coming. Yeah. He's talking at a thing in Brighton, and people are going nuts about it on Twitter. They're like, oh my God, it's Corbyn! And they're allowing people who've been kicked out of the Labour Party for being a bit anti-Semitic to come and talk. It's like, you're left-wing, bit racist. Come along to our little left-wing racist party. The Lib Dem conference agenda is a keep everyone happy, bland, nothing burger. Maybe I'm considering leaving them. Politically homeless, maybe Greens. Pineapple Boy, the Lib Dem conference. I went there a few years ago, and I remember sitting down having that conversation with a bunch of Lib Dem activists where I was like, you need to be in the news. You need to be in the news. You need to do things that get you into the news. This is what Trump did. He got into the news. You say, right, we're going to legalize drugs. That would get you into the news. The news will be all over that. The Lib Dems want to legalise drugs. Oh my God. It will start a discussion. So people will go, oh, well, actually, I think that's quite a good idea. Across breakfast tables, across the nation, people will be talking about what the Lib Dems are talking about, what the Lib Dems are proposing. UBI will do the same thing. Rejoining the single market and the customs union will do the same fucking thing. But the Lib Dems don't have any policies. And we saw this when they got into power with the Tories 11 years ago. They looked like a fucking bunch of rabbits in headlights. What were their policies? They went, oh, well, we're going to have a referendum for AV. That was a big sacrifice that they were going to make. Big referendum for AV. And they couldn't get enough people in Parliament to explain AV to people in sufficient quantities for people to actually go, yeah, that's a good idea. It's this kind of question. Why would you ask the electorate that? Why would you ask a motorist, a bog standard motorist, how to fix a fucking engine? Most of them don't know. They don't know how the fucking car works. They just know it goes. You know, you've been elected. You're in power. If you want to change the system, fucking change it. And then if it's shit, we can vote you out in the next election. Thank you very much, Geld von der Incel. Thank you, Alexis. Is that for this is for the incel? I'm incel? What? I'm not one of them. Who else have we got? Adrian. It says, I worked with, for and alongside many Europeans, many of whom make more than I do. I'm from which I learnt many skills, and I've worked minimum wage. Europeans exist across the whole economy. Yeah, they do. They do. I was watching an interesting video the other day about how we need to stop thinking about paying people for their time. And this is something that really fucks me off as someone who has spent 24 years filming and editing and presenting on digital video. right? 24 years experience in every country in the world. No one else can say that, can they? I don't think. Working in every single country in the motherfucking world, okay? When you pay for an hour of my time, when I'm doing something technical, right? You're not paying for an hour of my time. You're paying for the 24 years that I've spent getting to the point where I can do this stuff, effectively, like without even thinking about it. We're not parking meters. We're human beings with skills and experience, and that's what people should be paying for. That's what companies should be paying for. And yet it is clock in, clock out, which is the most inefficient way of doing it. Who fucking works at 4:30? You see the 4:30 on the wall, you're like, oh, fuck this shit. Lean back, put your fucking feet up for half an hour. Why would you work really hard in that last half an hour? You just wouldn't. But if you had a target by the end of the day and then you could leave as soon as that target was done, you'd fucking work to the target and then you'd fuck off home, wouldn't you? And then the thing will get done. The thing will get done. But no, we pay by the hour. So there's no point in rushing. There's no point in actually trying to get something done efficiently because you're getting paid by the hour. But it's really shit when, someone says to me, like, oh, you're only working for 2 hours. Why are you charging 250 quid for this filming job? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, not just the equipment that I'm bringing to the table, but also, hire all that filming equipment and it'll cost you more than 250 quid. But, whatever. But, like, how disrespectful is that when they're just like, oh, yeah, I'm just putting money in the meter. Just putting money in the meter. You need my skills. All right, well, you can either pay for those skills or you can fuck off. So, yeah, I thought that was a good video. And I concur. I concur. This country produces emotional damage. It doesn't take many people to toxify the whole system. If so-called success is to be heartless and ruthless, it produces psychopathy. Yeah, Ernie, I guess so. But is that it? Is it? We have gone through this collective trauma. I wonder how many of the boomers were abused as kids. Because we hear about a lot of the stuff that happened in the 70s and 80s. And that was like, the 80s was my generation. And obviously there were historical offences that no one got done for. No one got done for. So yeah, I do think there is a lot of hidden trauma in the United Kingdom. Just because the institutions, the Church of England, the Catholic Church, the government, the Metropolitan Police Force, that there's so much corruption, and there has been so much corruption over the years, especially when it comes to sex abuse. Yeah, a lot of cover-ups. I mean, look at an institution like the BBC and how they covered up Jimmy Savile's crimes for decades, for fucking decades. And then at the end they went, oh, nobody knew. We didn't know. We knew it was a bit weird, but no, it was that weird. Bullshit, they didn't know. Anyway, right. I'm going to have to get going in a minute. Super J Patterson. I'll tell you something. We visited England for last week for 5 days. The crisp aisle in Morrison's and Lidl was practically empty. What's going on? Well, I think you'll find it's called Brexit, mate. We decided to leave the biggest and most efficient single market in the world, and instead we have decided to go it alone and stand alone on 2 feet. Only the problem is that we import, 75% of our food? Yeah, makes it a bit difficult when we're putting checks on the borders and holding things up with paperwork. And if we want to export anything, we're having to fill out shitloads of paperwork as well. So if you had the company that was British and imported stuff and exported stuff like M&S, they can't export stuff anymore. They can't subsidise. They can't use that profit to subsidise having lost leaders in the UK. So they don't have loss leaders anymore. Loss leaders are the products sold in the supermarket where they actually make a loss on the sales, but the idea is that they get people into the shop so they actually buy more things than they need. Greetings from Reykjavik, says Alexander Campbell. Well, hello, Iceland. How you doing? Late again, says Richard Prosser. Sorry, it was only 10 minutes. It's all part of the keep them poor mentality of the Tories. It is indeed. It is indeed. Baerbeck, in terms of earning money, the Queen sent me a letter admitting she took too much money from my earnings last year. That's 4.5 grand. I'd gladly pumping back into the local economy. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. If you give money to rich people who are rich fuckers who scribble it away in some kind of hedge fund and on the other side of the world, you're not going to get any benefit to the local community out of that money at all. So don't give subsidies to millionaires. They're fucking stupid. They don't need the money. They don't need it. Who needs the money as people in society? Like, because they will stay where they are and they'll spend the money in the local community and it'll make the economy go round. It's a big thing in capitalism. You need people spending money or capitalism just falls apart. If everyone just put money into bank accounts or stuffed it into the mattress or behind the cabbage clock on the mantelpiece, the economy would fall apart. They need people to spend money. They need money to be circulating through the system. And that helps out the banks. It helps out PayPal. It helps out everyone who takes the half pennies from every single transaction that you make, like Richard Pryor in Superman 3. And they need this. Was it 2 or 3? I can't remember. But we need this system, and the best way to achieve that system is by making sure that everyone has enough money to spend on stuff. How do you do that? Universal basic income. 2 thumbs up, David. What's that for? Cash dummy. Sometimes when I'm in a dark mood, I remind myself how lucky I am to have been born and still being alive. Positivity is a rational conclusion, or thus rational in itself is as healthy. It is healthy. Yeah, it is, Cash Dummy. It is. And like, I do think about how fortunate I am to just exist, to just be here at this point in time on the planet. If I'd been born 300 years ago, I'd be dead by now. I would have died of my own teeth. So yeah, there's I guess there's a few things to be said about the fact that, you know, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. Because we're alive. But just because we're happy about that doesn't mean we can't be a little bit frustrated, shall we say, about the situation that we find ourselves in, that we find ourselves plunged into by people who haven't got our best interests at heart. That's putting it as nice as I possibly can. Fuckwits and demons, mate. Fuckwits and demons. Right. We love you, mate. Stay strong. Oh, thank you. Is that for me or someone else? Glasgow, if you could pass on the link for the Discord server, that'd be great. And also, yeah, I'm going to just pass on the Ginger Island website. Been doing more stuff on the Ginger Island website all today. Didn't get much else done, but there's loads of new pages on there. There's So I Want an Island. There's all about Ginger Island Live. There's a page about me. There's going to be a page about Marcus, but he hasn't sent me his bumf yet, his biog. There's a guest book. There's a photo gallery there now, which is Marcus's suggestion. It's a good one. There's FAQs, and there's a contact on the front page now, and also the Ginger Island blog, which is split into 5 parts. SOS Island, which is the show that I won the island on. The Road to Ginger Island, which is about the period of time between the end of the show and me actually getting to Panama and getting the deeds for the island. The Ruta Maya was the month that I spent traveling around the Mayan sites in Yucatan, in Mexico, and Belize, and Guatemala, and Honduras. We just go to a Mayan site in Honduras. Well worth checking out. And then Ginger Island is a 3-year blog. It averages about 1 blog each month about what I was getting up to on the island. Generally lots of parties and cool times, and yeah, lots of sunshine. Veg Pie, £5 super chat. Thank you. Woo! Here's a nice super chat to cheer you up. That puts a smile on my face. And Cash Dummy, the great adventure is coming. Ginger Island. Yes! Returning to Ginger. I'm really excited about it, but also at the same time, I've got this feeling of dread, which I'm going to share with you right now. Just because the last 5 years have been an absolute fucking slog. I can't call it an emotional roller coaster, because roller coasters, like, you know, they go up, I guess, at some point. Whereas this has just been like down and then flat and then down and then flat of things fucking up. People letting you down, Brexit, Trump, the environment, no one taking charge, the immense frustration of there being no proper opposition in this country. It's been difficult. It's been a difficult few years. So I'm for the first time in my life, before embarking on an adventure, instead of being full of excitement, I'm actually quite full of trepidation on this one. And I don't know if it's just because my mindset's changed a lot over the last 5 years. Maybe it's just to do with getting older. Maybe you just think, you feel more mortal or something. But yeah, I don't know if I've allowed myself to get to the point where I'm really feeling excited about it. The reason being is because there's a part of me that still thinks I might not actually make it to the fucking island for one reason or another. But I've got my insurance now. It's fucking expensive. Booked in my COVID test for next week before I go. I ticked all the boxes. I think I'm immunized against COVID. I don't know what else I need to do. And Marcus and I should have sorted out the microphones and the solar panels by next week, I hope. And yeah, so there's the excitement will hit me at some point. It will, but at the moment there's a lot of sort of stress in getting everything sorted before we leave. And I probably shouldn't have put like a countdown on the Ginger Island website. If you go onto it, it's got like the first thing you see is like the countdown to how many days, hours, minutes and seconds before midnight on Friday, next Friday. Glasgow Kiss says, I'm so looking forward to Brokeback Island soap opera. Get a beer or two to loosen the muscles. Thank you for the super chat, Glasgow Kiss, and thank you very much, Cash Dummy, for the super chat as well. Super J Patterson says, what's this Ginger Island talk? It sounds like something monumental occurring in 8 days. So Super J Patterson, so how do I explain this? Where do I start? Right, 7 years ago, I won an island in an American game show, and it is off grid, a little 2.2 acre island in Panama, in the Caribbean, off the coast of Bocas del Toro. And I lived there for 3 years off grid, having a whale of a time in my mid-30s. And then in 2006, I came back in the summer, and there was that horrific referendum that we lost. And also my dad was diagnosed with dementia. So I spent most of my time, sort of half my time, between being on the island and being at home, helping looking after my dad. And then in 2017, I came back for good, basically. So in the April of 2017, after 3 years on the island, I came back. I've been back twice since, but I haven't been back for 2.5 years. There's a guy looking after the place, but before Ishmael started looking after the place, it had been abandoned for a couple of months. I didn't know it had been abandoned because the person who was supposed to be looking after it had left, and I didn't know. And basically, all my stuff got robbed. Everything that I had left on the island. I mean, like, I didn't leave anything valuable. I didn't leave, my PlayStation or anything. But the toilet got robbed. The decking, the downstairs decking, the paneling off the walls, all gone. And the solar panels and the batteries taken by the locals who would use them. They'll just see, well, you've abandoned your house, so we'll have your stuff, thank you very much, which is kind of fair enough. If they're getting some use out of it, I wouldn't be getting any use out of it. So we're going back, me and my friend Marcus Kett, who's all shorts on YouTube. And Marcus is not just absolutely hilarious, he's also a carpenter. He's a professional carpenter. He knows his way around solar panels, and he also knows how to build a boat. So he's a very useful person to take over to the island with me. So we're going a week tomorrow. We're heading over to Central America. We're going to fly into Costa Rica, and then we spend the day traveling across Costa Rica on the Saturday. We'll pop into Puerto Viejo and say hello to a couple of people on the chat here who live there. And then we'll be heading down to Bocas del Toro. And on the Sunday, so a week on Sunday, we'll be arriving on Ginger Island to assess the damage, see what's there. Haven't been there for 2.5 years. And start trying to fix the place up. And the difference is this time, and compared with the other times that I've been there, we're going to live stream it. 9 hours a day. 9 hours a day. So for the first 8 hours from 9 o'clock till... the first 7 hours from 9 o'clock till 4 p.m. local time, which translates to 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. British summertime, which it still will be then. We will be just setting up a camera on a tripod, and you get to watch what we're doing. That's Ginger Vision. And then after that, we'll be having an hour of Ginger Island Parlay where we'll be chatting with you. You'll be able to leave comments and maybe even call in to the show, and we'll be going through what we've done that day, and how many fingers we've accidentally lopped off, and all the things that went right and all the things that went wrong, fixing up this bloody island, fixing up the house, fixing up the walkways, putting in some new solar panels, putting in new plumbing, toilet, water pumps, showers, whatever we need to do, sinks, and also the boat dock, fixing the boat. There's going to be a lot of DIY going on. There's going to be a lot of island maintenance going on in the 6 weeks that we're there. We've only got 6 weeks. Each week is going to have a slightly different theme. So we're going to have like Shark Week, we're going to have like Pirate Week, we're going to have Party Week and stuff. And also, after that, we're going to start up the Desert Island Discord, which is going to be just for the elite members of the Ginger Island tribe, which is everyone watching this right now. Where we'll go over to the Discord and we will discuss what we're going to do next on the island. And we'll be there appearing on video, and you can have a chat with us in real time, and we're going to try and make it as accessible as humanly possible for most of the people who might want to watch that kind of thing. So that starts next. It starts on Friday, next Friday, so a week tomorrow, and that's it. My first big adventure in a very, very long time. Coconuts. I've got King Coconut here. I'm going to put my Ginger Island logo on this coconut. And I'm going to have it on the table next week. That's going to go there. But I haven't put the logo on. I haven't put the logo on it yet. So let me get that sorted first. Helder says, I will definitely be tuning into that. All Shorts is funny as hell. Okay, so did anyone see All Shorts and Widdicombe video today? I didn't see it. He sent me the link via WhatsApp and he says, you need to watch this video. And I saw the thumbnail. And the thumbnail made me throw up in my own mouth. So I haven't watched the video. But, Graham dressed up as Carmen Miranda. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Put the fruit on my head. Don't forget the mankini. I hope everyone gets sick from drinking rainwater and coconut milk. Coconut milk can give you the squits, can't it? But the coconut water, throw in a bit of rum, a bit of ice, and that's great. And I think that the alcohol in it sort of neuters the any kind of bad stuff in the water. I don't know. I've never had a problem with coconuts, but I've heard that story before. How do you get fresh water on the island? Seb, we get 3.5 meters of rainwater a year. So, we just get it from the sky. We collect it. And then you go into a big tank and you put like a cap full of chlorine into the water to just kill off any kind of bugs and things. So you don't die of MRSA. That's something that's going to have to be done. Someone's going to have to take the top. Well, we're going to have to take the top off the water tank that's there. We've got like a 800 litre tank. We're going to have to take the top off, and basically someone's going to have to climb inside and clean it. Which is there. Watch it, it's hilarious. How are you going to get internet on the island? That's from Helder. The island is line of sight of the nearest town, Bocas del Toro, and as a result, we're going to have an internet dish. Basically, getting we've gone for 7 megabits per second. That can go up to 100 if you need to, but that's really expensive. But we're going to go for 7 megabits per second broadband speed, which is upload and download. So it's symmetrical. It's not like the shit that we have to put up with in the UK where you can download at 80 megabits per second. Hooray! But you can only upload at 8. Plus, the upload speed is guaranteed. So, yeah, we'll get internet. Plus, we get phone reception on the island. So, you don't have to worry about not being able to use the phone. So if for whatever reason the internet doesn't work, we'll have 4G LTE signal, and we'll still be able to get something out there for you. John Barleycorn, if you drink the coconut water from more than 4 coconuts, it starts mucking with your digestive system. If I remember what Ray Mia said correctly. Oh, right, okay, fair enough. Is Ginger in the hurricane zone? No, York, it's not. As far as I'm aware, Panama's never been hit by a hurricane. Or that part of Panama's never been hit by a hurricane. It's been hit by some tropical storms, but not for a long time. It's quite unusual for it. It's a bit of a hurricane hole, which is where the sailboat people like to go during the hurricane season. They like to put their boats somewhere where they know there's not probably going to be a hurricane. Bocas del Toro is a great place because it's dead cheap. It's only like $1 a beer in the bars and things. And you can just go out and put your boat, put your anchor down, put your quarantine flag up and chill out, and you'll be able to see out hurricane season without there being a hurricane, touch wood. However, with climate change and the increase of numbers of tropical storms and hurricanes to an insane level, I think that might get a bit difficult. But we'll see. We'll cross that bridge if we come to it. And I do have an emergency kind of get out if we do need to get off the island very, very quickly. We can, we'll be able to head out to higher land. We can actually swim off the island if we need to. If we're given 3 hours warning, we can actually get to the mainland, and we can climb up a big fuck off hill where if there's a storm surge, we won't get inundated. So but one of the things that I would say about sort of hurricanes and things like that, if we knew there was one coming, we would get off the island, we would go to the mainland, we'll make sure we were far above sea level, and as far as they're concerned, it's a case of if we do lose anything that we build on the island, solar panels and the batteries, I guess, and wood for the building of the buildings and the roofs of the buildings. It's just something that you lose. It is a mentality that you got to have that in the jungle. Nothing lasts forever anyway, because something will take it out. It might be strong winds, it might be termites, it might be a strike of lightning. But yeah, you've kind of got to have that mentality to some extent. The other worry is earthquakes, because when I was there, we had a good few earthquakes. But one of the good things about Panama in terms of earthquakes is it's on a lot of fault lines. So when you have a group of fault lines all together, you get a lot of small earthquakes rather than a big fuck off earthquake that actually causes a lot of damage, because there's it can't build enough pressure up to have a 7.8, 8.2 on the Richter scale kind of earthquake, whereas somewhere like, I don't know, San Francisco sits on a big fuck off fault, the San Andreas fault, and that's just building up pressure, and it has done for 100 years, over 100 years, 120 odd years, I think, and 110 odd years, and basically that's gonna, when that slips, that's gonna be a big one. That is going to be a big one. Alex Morgan, £9 super chat. Thank you very much, Alex. I realise I've got over time, but it's all worth it when I get a super chat in. Thank you very much, Alex. Are we quizzing on Discord tonight? Yes. Let's quiz on Discord. I've got the original 1982. I think it's 1982 Trivial Pursuit questions in it. They weren't very clever, were they? Because you actually do the box like that. I think you're supposed to put them out like that. But anyway, loads of questions in it, to ask. Loads of geography questions, the top ones. Which I think I'm going to go for. I might ask a few questions because it's quite entertaining, because a lot of the answers are the Soviet Empire. No, the Soviet Union or West Germany or something that doesn't exist anymore. Good luck for the travel, guys. Thank you very much. I'm rolling thunder, pouring rain. I'm coming like a hurricane. What's this? Webcams.com. Piss off, webcams.com. Don't want you here. Right. Report. Unwanted content. Spam. Piss off. Okay. Hide user on the channel. Okay. 1982 Trivial Pursuit. Was that the year it started? Yeah, actually, I think it might be 84. I don't know. Someone could look it up. This is the edition. This is the Trivial Pursuit edition that actually has the error that led to a court case against the makers of Trivial Pursuit, because one of the questions is who invented the bra, and the answer given in Trivial Pursuit is Otto Titzling, who didn't invent the fucking bra. It's a joke. But there was a guy who wrote a quiz book, and like map makers, like cartographers, put a few mistakes into the map so they can see if someone has just copied their map. They can say, you put a street in that doesn't exist, that we invented. The OS do this, and A to Z and other mapping companies, they'll put in wrong things to make sure that no one steals their their data, essentially. So this guy took the makers of Trivial Pursuit to court because they had robbed all of his questions, like 6,000 questions from his bumper book of questions. And the judge in the trial apparently said, sorry, you can't copyright questions. You can't copyright facts. So there you go. Cool. All right. I got it, mate. I hope those hot boys and girls cool down soon. Yeah, me too. Glasgow Kiss has shared the link for the chat for the after things chat. That's really annoying that the web chat thing has come up on my restream and I can't get rid of it off this. Damn. Oh, there you go. Yes, I got rid of it. Take that, spam. Bloody spammers. Oh, bloody hell, a spam bot tosser. Yeah, it's the first time we've ever got a spam bot. We must be getting more popular. Okay, right. Abandoned ship. Abandoned shit. Should we head over to the Discord server, ladies and gents? We'll have ourselves a little geography quiz. Jorg, it was nice, peep, signing off. Good night, Graham and the rest. They aren't that hot. I haven't set fire to them yet. And John Barleycorn just says, Wibble. Okay, thank you very much for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 with Marcus on Maximilian's stream. Okay, so tomorrow, 9:30, get over to Maximilian Robespierre's stream and we will be gate crashing his live stream for a couple of hours. So please join us for that. Should be a bloody good laugh. One last hurrah before we head off into the wild blue yonder. But yes, we would love you to join us for that. And if you want to head over to the Discord server, I'll see you there in a little bit. The Shepherd of Azure Fire, says Duke Vengeance. Thanks, Graham and Mods. Cash Dummy, dude, when it takes off with Ginger, we are ready for the trolls and bots. Thanks, Spambot, for the training. Thank you, Cash Dummy. You're a legend. The stream is going to be epic. It will be. I hope it will. Fetch my flamethrower minion, says Duke Vengeance. Let's do it. Okay. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks very much for the super chats. Really appreciate it. And thanks to all my wonderful Patreons. Thanks to all my YouTube members. And thanks for sticking with us through thick and thin. You keep this channel alive, and I wouldn't be able to go to Ginger Island if it wasn't for you. So thank you very much. You've made it. You've made it so. So I'll leave you on that note, and until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.